Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this program, we'll bring you every information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to the program today. My name still remains Patrick Abambo. Yeah, I'm excited because we're already in a new month. The sixth month of the year is quite significant because half part of the year 2024 is almost going, and what a year it's been. Wonderful. And just a few days ago, the current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his government marked 1 year in office. Nigerians have been speaking about the assessment on the government in various areas, though that is not what we're looking at today. We'll be looking at what the military has been doing to protect Nigeria, territorial integrity, and our internal security. I must state here that it's quite saddening that again, a few days ago, some people in Aba, particularly, took the laws into their hands for doing nothing, attacking those who were constitutionally and legally stationed to protect Nigerians by killing military officers. We'll be coming back to look at what is happening again in the southeast. But let's go to the Nigerian Army headquarters, where actually Daniels brings us a report of the Chief of Army Staff's visit to Alamara Barracks in Ogun State.
Uniforms are the identity of any organization or individuals who are designated for a specific assignment in a country or society. Over the years, citizens of Nigeria have criticized the federal government for not providing fresh uniforms for its serving security personnel. During his recent visit to the 35 Artillery Brigade in Alamala, Ogun State, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, while responding to a question on uniforms and accoutrement, disclosed that the Nigerian Army leadership prioritized the distribution of its uniforms to soldiers.
The challenge is when we give order to contractors to supply uniform, they supply different shades. I can look at all of you on the parade ground. I see some green, some light green, some somehow brown. That is one issue. Another issue is that we have to prioritize how we apply the limited resources available. What the Army receive can only supply uniform maybe for 1 or 2 battalions in a year based on the budget allocation. And if that be the case, we must give attention to soldiers deployed in the front line. And that is why, as you are going to the theater or coming out, you get the standard issue of uniform. That is a priority for Northeast and the Northwest. But we are looking at it to see how it can go around the whole army formation. But I'm aware that if we give you the same 20,000 that you used to collect as uniform allowance, you cannot buy uniform in this present economic reality. So the finance call, they are working on it. Whatever is arrived at to be communicated to you, and that issue is being addressed.
As a symbol of identification and authority, it is expedient that the federal government of Nigeria ensures that security personnel are properly kitted, which will help eliminate the tendency of personnel having to provide their own uniforms. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa.
Yeah, welcome back. Yes, it's important to provide security, and that will remove or reduce the penchant, the urge for people to impersonate, the availability of those materials for people to impersonate. Yes, let's go to the Nigerian Air Force headquarters, where they have a very functional and technologically driven museum, which can tell you everything about the Nigerian Air Force. Elizabeth Tanko was there, and she brings us this report.
In Nigeria today, One service organization that is leading in providing cutting-edge data information and memorabilia is the Nigerian Air Force. The headquarters of the Nigerian Air Force houses a technological-driven museum which contains detailed information of its establishments, platforms, personnel both living and dead, uniforms and accoutrements. As part of the Nigerian Air Force at 60 celebrations, some media organizations including Security Watch Africa were conducted around the museum by the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar.
Who have contributed immensely to the enhancement.
At the museum, a young air officer, Flying Officer Oscar Ibokwe, described the various sections and items at the museum.
Thank you very much. Please. You cannot extol the virtues of the Nigerian Air Force without knowledge of its rich history. The idea of establishing an Air Force for Nigeria was first mooted in 1961, following the nation's participation in peacekeeping operations in Congo and Tanzania, where the Nigerian Army had no air transport of its own and had to rely on air transport from foreign Air Forces aircraft to and from the theaters of operation. Each of these branches are headed by a branch chief who reports directly to the Chief of the Air Staff. This is the current branch chief of the Policy and Plans branch, and also the branch chiefs are assisted by several directors and staff officers. For the Policy and Plans branch, we have 4 directorates under the Policy and Plans branch, which are Directorate of Policy, Directorate of Plans, Directorate of Museum and Archives, and the Directorate of Nigerian Air Force Transformation. It would interest you to know that the Chief of the Air Staff was one time the Director of the Directorate of Plans from 11th March 2021. Militaries all over the world have presented regimental colors to eulogize the honor and traditions of the service. The Nigerian Air Force is not excluded. The colors represent our identity as a service and distinguishes the uniqueness of various commands and units. The Nigerian Air Force color was presented to the Nigerian Air Force in 1976 by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, while the Logistics Command color was presented to the command in 1982 by former President Shehu Shagari, while the Mobility Command color was presented to the command in 2011 by former President Goodluck Jonathan. And also we have insignias which are worn by various specialties of the Nigerian Air Force. These are some of them. A unique display in the Hall of Fame is a record of the Nigerian Civil War, which was fought from 1967 to 1970 between the government of Nigeria and the Republic of Biafra, a secessionist state which had declared its independence from Nigeria in 1967. On display we have documentaries of the Nigerian Civil War, the Nigerian Air Force participation in the Civil War, some pictures of the Civil War, some weapons which are recovered from the Biafran army, and as well as information of the Biafran Museum in Umuahia. Thank you very much. And also, aside from the Nigerian Civil War, the Nigerian Air Force has participated decisively in other peacekeeping missions, the Single Service in Gambia, the ECOMOG in Liberia and Sierra Leone, the African Union in Mali, and also as well as other United Nations missions. The uniforms on display are arranged according to the designated order of uniform fittings of the Nigerian Air Force. The number 1 dress is the ceremonial dress, which is worn for ceremonies and parade. The number 2 dress is the service dress, which is worn for social ceremonies and events. The number 3 dress is the regimental mess kit, which is worn for regimental dinners and ball. The number 4 dress is the standard working dress of the Nigerian Air Force, while the 4A, the tunic, is worn for meetings and conferences, while the provost and the matron specialty put on these uniforms in their respective workplaces. However, the woodland and the desert camouflage are the fatigue dresses of the Nigerian Air Force, while the sport dress is standard for sport activities, while the woodland and desert flying suits are worn by air crew as vegetation may determine, while the technicians put on the overall, and the raincoat is worn by all personnel during wet weather.
At the end of the visit, the Chief Executive Officer, Security Watch Africa, Mr. Patrick Abambo, was selected to digitally write down comments and sign on behalf of other media personalities.
Thank you. You get to see the story. As well as the date. Thank you very much.
Elizabeth Thanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, it's good to keep records of what happened so that future generations can be able to assess and get the right information. It's free for everybody to access the Nigerian Air Force and get those information. Anything you need to know is quite important. Let's go quickly to Borno State, precisely the headquarters of the 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, where Security Watch Africa had interaction with the acting General Officer commanding 7th Division, Brigadier General Abubakar Haruna. Sit back as Julie Daniels brings us this report.
For peace and security to reign in any society, citizens must collaborate with security forces. This was the view of the Acting General Officer commanding 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Abubakar Haruna, while speaking with Security Watch Africa's team at the division's headquarters in Maduguri, Borno State. The General Officer commanding spoke on how the troops have been able to provide security in their area of responsibilities. Brigadier General Haruna described security situation in Borno State as fluid.
The security situation in the area of responsibility is calm, generally fluid, as you cannot completely say everything is as it is unpredictable, because at times you are interrupted by the activities of the remnants of the terrorists who have made some areas within Sambisa, the Mandara Mountain, and other areas as a safe haven. So from where they come out on their own to attack innocent citizens. And at times, they try to see how they can infiltrate, but most of these infiltrations were dealt with and successfully too. So the area of operations is cool and calm. You can see from, I'm sure you went around this, maybe Maiduguri or other local governments. You may have found out how people live their lives, how they move freely without all the undue apprehension and so on. Attaining a sustainable security situation is not that too easy. But you need the cooperation of all stakeholders within the community you find yourself. And happily enough, a lot of the citizens have been keen into what we are doing. We try to make them understand that we are for them all the time, ready for them, ready to give them what we require. And at times where there is any infringement in their rights by any terrorist or whatever, we go out to ensure that first we secure them and deny those terrorists the ability to continue. So everybody is, they feel free, they have more confidence. I think that's one of the reasons why you find more of them running away from their so-called hideouts to come and surrender. And they come in, they surrender, they discover that they are well taken care of, and that one also, they too send messages to their people. And the society also try to understand that there's need for us to bring them back, so that at the end of the day, everybody will have freedom to move. In places where we have certain difficulties, we provide escort in an exchange point arrangement, where we escort them to ensure that they are safe. And today, by God's grace, Maiduguri Damaturu road is clear. From here to Bama, to some extent up to Pulka, you don't find this. People go on their own, and even up to Goza. So, up to Madagali, because we recently went there and we saw what it is. So people are happy, people are free, they feel more freer. And once they are free to even interact with us, we get more information as to where the enemy is lurking around and how to go about getting them.
On the relationship between the 7th Division and the Borno State government, Brigadier General Abubakar described the governor, Babagana Zulum, as a supportive governor.
You know, we are lucky that we have a proactive governor who listens. And the man, I always call him General Zulum because he is one who, first he has the interests of his people at heart. He wants life, meaningful life injected. Whatever we go with in terms of requests for support, you look at it and assist us. As it is now, he has done so many, including issue of equipment, vehicles and so on to enhance our operations. There was a time he came on his own for the burial of an officer and some soldiers. And there and then promised scholarship for the families of those people. So he is one that is proactive. He is one that has the military at heart. As it is today, there is a plan to relocate all the IDPs, including the refugees from neighboring countries who have been clamoring to come back home. He has facilitated. If you go to Dikwa, there is an enclave they call Gajibu. He has built accommodation quite all right. And incidentally, Gajibu is the major crossing point of the terrorists, crossing from one side to the other, from Sambisa to Tumbus, Tumbus to Sambisa. From there, they can traverse anywhere. So his plans to relocate back the people in that ancestral home will help a lot because it will serve as an impediment to stop the unnecessary movement of. And happily enough, one of the problems of security is this inaccessible road. They are planning to rebuild Dikwa Gamboru Road. Only yesterday, the engineer team responsible for that visited Dikwa just to see where they can put their equipment and so on. And in most of these areas, most of the then affected locations, he has made effort to ensure that the local inhabitants returned back. So most of these enclaves, most of these are in their locations now. There is plan to relocate people from Niger, Cameroon, and so on. And apart from that, he has built infrastructure just to enhance the well-being and security of the people. He's doing a lot. He has not forgotten the military too. He also assists us all the time. And I'm sure he discusses with the higher headquarters whenever it is necessary, so that he pushes forward what he observes as things that the military will need, but maybe could not adequately put forward, you know. So he is just the man to meet.
Speaking on the main factor for the successes recorded so far, General Haruna disclosed that the leadership of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, is the brain behind all the successes troops have achieved so far.
You know, the Chief of Army Staff is the brain behind whatever we do. He is at the topmost. He sees it. Fortunately, he's a seasoned senior officer who has gone around, has participated in so many operations. To some extent, he will tell you about what he did, trying to make you, understand that it is doable. So he's a leader who has given us that leadership. He has encouraged us. He has given us the necessary resources. And when we complain, he listened to us and give us more so that we can achieve. To me, the Chief of Army Staff is a classical type of leader who, going by his philosophy, has given us the wherewithal to make us succeed in our operations.
Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa.
Welcome back. Yes, like I said at the beginning, the incident that happened in Abia State a few days ago, it's one that is quite sad. And most Nigerians have spoken out against it, while some are silent. We want to talk with Chimezi Anyadike, a social commentator and a regular on this program, on how he sees it. He's joining us via Zoom. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Patrick. I'm very fine, sir.
Yeah, please, okay. Yes, I'm sure you heard and you saw what happened in Abia State. Well, what would you say about this? Because for me, I'm actually lost. But what would you say about it?
It's a very sad occurrence. To me, have been prevented. Unfortunately, it's been allowed to turned to what it is right now. It's a very sad situation. It's terrible, and it's going to environment on the locality where it happened for a long time in Abia State. It's really going to affect those that live in that.
Yeah,
that we can say.
Okay, so I think your audio is breaking. But for some time now, some months now, the Southeast have been reported to be calm, and who visited there we saw it. But this coming up again calls for question: what really is happening there?
Yes, we've been very excited over the fact that relative peace and calm, supposedly, with what has happened, I think this is just one event out of what has not been happening, and but it's in as much as it's a particular worrisome as it has been, and it shows that some fire flashpoints that have still not been contained.
Okay. Yeah.
This secessionist agenda.
Yes. I know we would like to have more direct conversation on this, but apart from few of you that are from Southeast that are speaking, some prominent persons from that region seems to be silent on this. Don't you think it encourages these boys to continue in what they are doing?
It does. It does. I agree with you, sir. It does. This evil, against this menace, is to me is subtle encouragement. If you don't stand against something and you don't verbally or overtly encourage it and you tolerate it, you are in a supporting it. If you are tolerating it, you are not standing vehemently against. So those that have refused to speak out against this.
Okay, you can continue.
Yes. Those that have refused to speak out against this are subtly out against it, and it will not. The fight against it will not. Does not have the total buy-in of everybody in the Southeast.
Because it seems that when these people don't condemn, they are supporting it, just like you have said. How do we get these things sorted out once and for all? Some has called for dialogue, but it seems that Where's the room for dialogue? Are there rooms for dialogue actually?
Well, I don't think there's room for dialogue because the Nigerian government is a terrorist organization and it should be treated as one. So if we are asking for dialogue with terrorists, I think what needs to be done is to, like I said, get the full support and buy in the Southeast to come out against this, speak both, whatever it is called, so that people would know that we have the buy-in of the governors and therefore we should not be afraid of any backlash.
Yeah, but
Be able to rise boldly against it.
But one of the governors of that south of the region had said that he has nothing against those who are agitating for whatever they're agitating, obviously giving an executive endorsement. Don't you think so?
Yes, I agree with you. That statement was ill-timed. It was ill-timed and it should never have been. But
all right.
It wasn't properly timed.
We'll have a better conversation on this subsequent edition of this program. It's a pleasure having you on the program today. Thank you so much, Mr. Anyadike.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick, for having me.
All right. Yeah, if you are joining us, this is your program, Security Watch Africa on AIT. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of today's episode of this program. Join us again next week when we'll bring you another exciting edition. Follow us on all our social media platforms so that we can interact. Send us your views on any of the issues raised here or some issues you may want us to discuss. Until next week, bye for now and remain blessed.